Hello, you all. Welcome once again to Panels with Rockstar. Happy New Year to you all. We are back to the stage. Jose, how you doing?
Happy New Year! Yeah, it's been was a crazy year last year, and this year is looking out of this world. Really, yeah, I can't really say, but 5G, like hotspots, waste blocks. There's a lot coming this year. It's going to be amazing.
Completely. Completely. Actually, we are this week on the Whistler Week, and we are launching new model for you all. So I encourage you to keep an eye on our social media channels to see the new models that are coming for the Whistler ecosystem. And also, just to give you a little bit of context about this show, just in case you are joining for the first time, this is a community space where we chat with passionate rock stars and people in the IoT ecosystem that are doing cool things to move forward in this ecosystem, and also bring new projects and experiences to keep pushing the innovation on the ecosystem for sure. So that's just a little bit of introduction about the space that we have. And we have been doing this for for a year. We
For a
started
year, yeah.
actually 2 years ago. This is our session number 48, and we are looking forward to bring more to you. So, just to start today's session, we're going to be chatting with someone who describes himself as a earnest activator, an ideas guy, a persistent and persuasive, an individual who wants to make things happen in this sport in a short amount of time. Therefore, he has spent a lot of time collaborating with like-minded people to grow
Mhm.
organizations and individuals he believes in. Danny, welcome to the RAKStars stage. Happy to have you here.
Hello,
Thank
Danny.
you.
Welcome.
Hello, Jose. Hello, Maria. And I appreciate the kind introduction.
No,
Yeah, we know you have a lot of stories to tell us today.
completely, completely.
I'm,
It's going
I'm
to be a pretty nice session.
excited.
Love it, love it. We have stories. We have stories about also about products, how to bring them to the market, how to market them. So it's going to be a pretty interesting call, a pretty interesting chat. And for all of those who are watching us right here, if you have any question for Danny, feel free to leave your question in the comment section. I will be super happy to address them over the conversation flow if it is appropriate to the conversation, or if not, we have a Q&A session at the end of the session. So yeah, it's time to start, Danny. I
I
think
guess
like
I'd
yeah,
like
go
to
ahead.
say that I'm repping Rack Wireless right now.
You
I
So
are,
love
yeah.
it.
You.
thank you very much for the swag.
Glad you have it, glad you bring it today. It is like since I gave you the t-shirt, it is super nice to see. Like, hey, I have the t-shirt today. Oh my
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. That is the main idea. And yeah, like you're a community driving person, not just tech related, but also helping new generation of young professionals to encourage them in their personal growth as well in their professional development. But this is just like a small thing about you. And to kick off the things, I will happy if you can introduce yourself a little bit about the things that you have been doing in the past, your education, what are the things that you're currently doing, as well as how you got into this IoT ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually am not an electrical engineer or an embedded firmware engineer. I got a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of California, Santa Barbara, and worked in the medical device industry for a short period of time. I worked as a machinist, actually programming CNC mills and lathes to do all kinds of research related product development. And then I got my first taste into kind of consumer product development by working for a consulting firm. It was actually an industrial design and mechanical engineering uh, consulting firm in Santa Barbara. And I got to become kind of like a SolidWorks junkie, doing a lot of product design. And that's where I first got actually introduced to electronics. A lot of the products that we were designing had electrical components. Either they were just relays or actuators, and then they started, more and more started having Bluetooth chipsets and Wi-Fi chipsets, and it wasn't too much cellular at the time, but there were just tons and tons of connected products. People were getting into it. IoT was all the buzz. And that's kind of when I, got a little bit of the sense of running my own business, and kind of got the itch, got the bug, and convinced my maybe unlucky at the time brother-in-law to jump in and start a business with me on the side. And so we started a company that actually was like, at the time, ambitious for us. We were trying to build a modular kind of ecosystem similar to what the WizBlock ecosystem, but we were way too early and probably not smart enough to do it. We did get a really nice prototype together, and I'm actually I have a couple slides later that I could show you about that prototype, but that's what got us into it. And it wasn't until we actually got a few customers, we started making money, we hired a couple of people. It wasn't until we had about 4 people on the team, 5 people, that I actually quit, and went full in on the entrepreneurial, lifestyle. And and that was a company called Breadware. And before it became a large services engineering firm. And so we started and built up this basically plug and play modular ecosystem for product development, utilizing the Arduino kind of as a baseboard. And then, had a number of different modules. We built an integrated development environment so that you could program it and have a nice little app to control your little products, but didn't find the right market fit. And from there, actually, companies were asking us, hey, like, we don't really want your product, but we are down to hire you guys to help us like design our product. And so we kind of morphed the company into a services agency right at the time when Wi-Fi and Bluetooth products were just blowing up. We specialize in embedded firmware development, and we're able to use that specialization to kind of get more and more customers, and grew the Breadware brand and company to around 45 people, all engineers. And I kind of like stopped, I stopped doing engineering altogether because we were primarily electrical engineering, embedded firmware development, and I became a business person. Short hair, clean cut, the whole 9 yards. Went out and tried to collect business for this growing, hungry services firm. And I say hungry kind of purposefully, because services firms, it's either a feast, like you have so much work, things are going big, you're hiring, stuff is happening, or you like don't have enough work and you have too big of a team and it's a nightmare. I kind of compare it, looking back, is to like sprinting as fast as you can, but you're on a treadmill. So you're not going very far. Yeah. And so that's kind of like, but the cool thing about the services business and the firm was that I got to see all kinds of different projects. I think over the course of 5 years, as we grew that company, we did over 65 different products that are like in the market, and we worked on over 100 projects that some of them didn't make it. And that's kind of the reality of this space, is that it's hard to get products all the way out and across the finish line. Definitely. So and then kind of continuing on from there, about 2 years ago, a little less, I guess, the Breadware company was acquired by one of our customers at the time, a company called Stone Age on the West Coast, and they are an OEM or an original equipment manufacturer. They build cleaning automation products for like tankers and ships and giant pipes, like basically automated machines that'll go in and use high pressure water to just like blast away barnacles and oil and really gross stuff. But these machines are very complicated and complex, and they come in and they have to be programmed and autonomous and do all kinds of things. And so we actually helped them build a couple of their products and their product line. And after a while, their CEO, Kerry Siggins, basically kind of inquired as like, hey, what would it take to bring you guys on fully? And it was the right time for Daniel and I, because we got into the IoT business, I would say, with the hopes and dreams of building a product company. and that got crushed, and we became a services company, which was a lot of fun, and that grew. And we really wanted to kind of try our hands out on the product side again. And so it was the right timing. And so we were able to kind of go through a little bit of an M&A process, and then sell the breadware brand to Stone Age, and kind of use that to start Ioterra, which is where we're at now. Ioterra is a pretty new thing. It's primarily a little bit of an ecosystem, I would say, for product engineers, developers, and solutions. And so I'm really excited to be partnering with RAK. So, basically what we do at Ioterra is we kind of help companies and people make decisions on what kind of products and solutions that they can integrate into their companies. And that's where we want to list and get reviews and do all kinds of things for solution providers like RAK Wireless. So that's where we're at right now.
Wow. Amazing story. Yeah. I love that you're coming back to product now, and that I can understand the service business really difficult to deal with, especially if you don't have a very lean machine and you have got lots of expenses. Yeah, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, no, it can get out of hand quickly, and we were very, it was our first time running a company, and we'd spend our money on things that we shouldn't, and we grew too fast.
Toys.
Yeah, exactly. We were able to actually kind of hold it together and grow the team and the company. We actually moved the company from Santa Barbara, where it was started, which is kind of a ridiculous story that I can tell you at the end of this, if we have time, about the starting story of it was breadware at the time, but we moved it to Reno, Nevada, and Reno, Nevada has been a really, really cool place to grow the company. And from there, we kind of opened up a subsidiary in Bangalore, India, and grew a team there. As well as now that we're Ioterra, we have a growing team in Medellin, Colombia, which is where I'm actually at right now. I'm enjoying the nice warm weather instead of the freezing cold at the moment.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about your experience in Medellin, and because I hear a lot that companies are moving there and starting there now. It's becoming a really popular place, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I really, we choose the places that we start that are, and grow pretty carefully. And Medellin and Reno, Nevada, and Bangalore, I can't say enough about, actually. So I'd be happy to go into it.
Nice. Yeah.
Awesome. No, this is pretty cool to see all the things that you have been done. And right now with Ioterra, I think we can connect many product developers with the right resources and the right company to make these products and these solutions happen. So it's pretty cool to be partnering with you, and we look forward to drive many end customer products next to your team for sure. And nowadays, you are in close communications with IoT enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, system integrators, and large companies solving different potential industries through IoT solutions. So maybe can you share a little bit more about the needs that you have found in these 5-year personas that I just shared? And also, what kind of projects do you usually see, as well as which is the most popular, let's say, vertical that you also see in this IoT ecosystem?
Yeah, great question. And you mentioned quite a few different kind of personas, the IoT entrepreneur versus the enterprise versus the system integrator. And it's kind of what makes this whole ecosystem really fragmented and hard to navigate, is that there's all this marketing information that's going out there to these different people that are looking for different things. So like an entrepreneur that might be building his or her own product that they're looking to mass produce and then sell into the market is not looking for something that a system integrator is looking for. Maybe a system integrator just got hired by some enterprise to put in a brand new surveillance system that's using some state-of-the-art sensors, some new WizBlock modules basically, and they're looking for different things or they're looking for like a whiz node, something that's very complete, something that's ready to integrate into a final product, right? Which doesn't take that much development. They're just gonna do some software side things and get it hooked into their already existing system. That's totally different than the entrepreneur that's looking to build a custom product from the ground up in the shortest amount of time and make it the most, kind of the shortest path towards production. So they want to use components that are verified, that are in production already, that have a long life cycle, that aren't going to just stop being supported. They need to have people available to them that have the ability to develop custom solutions on these kind of low-level hardware. And then they need to go through this whole entire NPI process of product design and kind of manufacturing readiness that is often overlooked. Like the complexity. People look at, oh, I've got my prototype. It looks like it's supposed to look like, and it's ready to go, and I'm ready to raise a bunch of money and go to production in a year, or go to production in 6 months.
6 months,
yeah. And the reality is that it's a lot different. And I actually would be happy to show you some examples. I put some examples of stories together that I've seen in the past. My experience primarily, we've worked with a number of different types of companies, a lot of startups, a lot of funded startups, because Breadware grew to be a kind of a well-established engineering firm. And so it wasn't super cheap to work with them. And but they, they're great at getting products to market quickly. And so basically, that's a very different needs, and the kinds of companies were often startups that were funded, or enterprises, or like OEMs like Stone Age that have an existing product line that are looking to augment it with cellular or some kind of wireless capability, add some new functionality. They already know that there's a market for their product, so they're not taking a bunch of risks there, right? And then on the flip side, we actually also got to help a lot of consumer products that were getting their feet going real quick. They'd raised a bunch of money without getting products into the market. It's a new brand, but they've done some very cool kind of marketing things to just validate that there's a product market fit. And you're also seeing a lot of failures there, like people who get going too fast without validating product market fit. And I guess that's where my mind generally goes when I think about companies. Do they understand their product market fit? Do they know what they're looking for? That's kind of like a haphazard, but kind of it's the way I think, I guess.
And you mentioned as well some a couple of the of our product line, like the WizBlock, the WizNode. I'm wondering which of our product line is your favorite one, or the one that you see more potential in?
Oh, I would say 100%. I'm in love with the WizBlock modular plug and play ecosystem. I think you guys have done it way, way better than that. I'll show you a picture in a bit, but being able to put together modularly like a whole myriad of sensors and not have to work with all the independent drivers and have some really badass embedded firmware genius to be making things come together is super powerful. And then to have a pathway from kind of a modular plug and play system to a production product is really cool. So I like it a lot. I would say that's the thing that I'm most excited about in the RAK ecosystem. I mean, I'm not that into crypto, but also this is super cool. Your whole ecosystem for the gateways and LoRa end node devices, and it's pretty impressive. And I'm really excited to start working with you guys a little closer, especially kind of moving into this next month or 2 months where we're about to kind of hit the ground running. We're going to Europe. We'll hopefully see you guys at the Things conference in Amsterdam. We're doing a couple of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. So we're about ready to really, really run around and showcase kind of our partner network.
Completely. No, thanks for all, and that is the idea. Keep working together to drive solutions together to help system integrators, startups, big companies to launch their product in the most convenient way. And all of these like that you have been sharing is that you have been very involved with the different kind of communities and as well as people working in the ecosystem and I myself like experience the RAKStar community. I will want to ask you like what advice would you give me on leading ours and improving on what Rack Wallace has already built in regarding our community.
No, when it comes to community, I actually think you are kind of a superstar in creating community, and you're extremely welcoming. And I really do believe when it comes to community, rising tide raises all ships. So it's kind of like a fun little saying, but it's like when someone's doing well and they bring in other people and partner. When companies large and small partner and they're experimenting, that's really like the beauty of a community, and that's what kind of creates all kinds of amazing things. So I actually look to you as the expert there. I am getting started. I'm gonna get started with kind of a weekly type newsletter,
Awesome.
not so much as a interview series, but I really like what you guys have done, and so I would consider you more of an expert on the community side than me.
No, no, we are on the same line, and we have to things to learn from each other for sure. And I'm super excited because like all the activities that you have been planned. The last year we had the chance to participate in a really cool conference that you put together, the PDC conference. It was
Yeah,
a conference in a virtual world. It's not like a VR world like we are looking right now with the metaverse, but it was pretty fun because there was like a lot of islands around. Everyone has its own booths, and it was in a comic way, like it was cartoon comic way. It was pretty nice. We also meet with really nice people, with cool companies. We partner some companies from that event. So it's super nice to see like how the communities are connecting each other, as you just shared. Doesn't matter if you're a large community or a large company or a small company. The idea is to put together all the resources to be able to move forward as a partners together in order to drive the solutions happen. It's
yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I,
At the
I
end. Mhm.
I had a lot of fun with that conference, and I completely agree. My dream for hardware development is that soon in the future it starts to be more like software development. There's more open source stuff going on. There's more people
Mhm.
helping each other utilize what's already been built, and I think we're getting closer to something like that. I mean, even at that PDC conference, which maybe we can put a link or something in a comment, or I can in a second,
Completely.
but we had like companies like Data there who are kind of containerizing firmware development, which is totally new and super cool to see. And I think that it's moving fast, and that's the other crazy thing about the IoT space is that it's so fragmented that things change so fast. Like when I was at Breadware, something that would have cost us $20,000 just a
Yeah,
year later costs us $2,000 and like is twice as small. It's like crazy how fast things go.
indeed. Yeah, the chips don't stop, and the SDKs and everything is more open now as well. Yeah, you find more open source. Yeah, I mean, compiler licenses used to cost 20K or just to get a
Yeah,
compiler for like an ARM processor. And now you can
exactly.
choose compilers. There's free compilers of different brands, and so different performance levels. It's great. Yeah, it's much better.
I think it's going to keep going in that direction. So I'm
Mhm.
excited.
Yeah, we're seeing that with machine learning now and so on.
Mhm.
Yeah, also going open source. There's a lot of stuff happening.
Many things for the different ecosystems and different technologies as well. Like now, like it's super impressive to see how, for example, on the Helium side, the network keep growing like a crazy. And we wanted to have that kind of network like 5 years ago, and now we have it. So now we start to drive solutions that can help the companies and the startups to start using and taking advantage of this network to deploy low power and low range solution using LoRa and LoRaWAN technology. So It's pretty
Yep.
impressive.
And it won't stop there because I mean we're now talking about people putting small cells in their homes for under $2,000 each. And this was something that was just outside of even imagination in last year, even
That's
not
serious.
too far
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, I think things are going to keep moving closer to the edge. So
Yes. Yeah. Indeed.
completely. So yeah, Danny, you bring us today like a presentation about how to write in the line between product marketing and engineering for startups.
yeah. Well, I guess just some preface. You know, I've seen a lot of companies, a lot of startups actually, primarily more startups than most people have. I would say, kind of struggle with this dilemma. And I put together a presentation that just kind of talks about some of the things that I would like to say to startups who are getting going, just to keep their mind kind of open to this challenge of like product marketing versus product development. And so I guess I can share my
Yep.
screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Can you
Okay.
see this?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, product marketing, product development. We talked a little bit about kind of the breadware past, where we did a lot of like product engineering. So not much marketing, and a lot of people when they think about IoT, I really love this article by Ben Einstein, who's no longer with Bolt, but one of the founders. Basically, the Illustrated Guide to Product Development kind of walks through this crazy kind of process, and this is what everyone thinks about, and this is why it's so hard and stuff. But what's often missed here, I guess you saw it at the very end there, that little retail is like the marketing side. Even when I look at it, something like this, and this is put together pretty fast, so apologies for the typos here, but as a mechanical engineer, I think about the engineering, design, testing, security, quality control, and all of this has to come together with the product team for the successful launch. And yeah, marketing's in there, but in reality, like as a startup, generally, there's only one chance. You get one chance before you run out, unless you already know you have product market fit. And a lot of people do this, and I've made this mistake. They put too much emphasis on the product development and not enough on the marketing. Whereas in reality, there's a lot of things that you need to be doing tangentially on both sides. And from what I've seen, this is the best way. It's kind of like a ladder of, you're doing one thing and then you're moving over to another thing. You're just kind of jumping between marketing and development, from your messaging and kind of brand positioning and testing to defining your definitions and your requirements, all the way down to testing the market. But this was my first product that I mentioned to you guys. This is the Mega Bee, is what we called it at the time. And this was like a little shield that went onto, and we had like a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth shield that went on top of an Arduino, just like a normal Arduino Mega. And we had these little modular buttons and sensors. And here's my business partner, Daniel, when he was a kid, pretty much, because it was a long time ago. But we even built this little integrated development environment, and we were so excited because it worked. And you could kind of program it without being a programmer, or an embedded firmware engineer, and get everything to work pretty quickly. And we had a plan that people and companies were going to use this product and use it as a starting block to get their projects to production, kind of like WizBlock. But what ended up happening when we finally finished and we got it out into the market was that like companies were not interested, or at least we did not market it in the right way to companies. And it was actually looked at more as a development learning tool. And who the people that were interested were schools. So both like early level schools, like showing here, I was invited multiple times and showed it to a lot of different schools, as well as like universities used it to kind of help teach people how to program. And that was cool, but that was not the market that we were going after. And we kind of made the hard decision right there that like we were going to put a pause on this. So this was a So it's a big failure because we spent too much time on the development side and not enough time like finding product market fit. So basically, I have a couple of stories right now that I could just run through really quickly of actual products that we helped with over the subsequent years that did it better, I think. And so the first one here is Wazen, and these guys are awesome, and they are still growing and doing all kinds of things. They partnered with well, at the time it was Breadware, and we helped them do a number of different things, but we helped them find a lot of different partners and people to get them across. But here's their story pretty much. They started with this bare bones particle photon kind of prototype. And what they were building was a dog door opener for sliding glass doors. And they didn't just rush in saying this is going to be the best thing ever and people are going to love it. What they actually did was like get this bare bones prototype, which just literally controlled an actuator with their phone. That's what the prototype did. And turning an IO pin on. and from there they kind of built this fake prototype here and built everything together and actually ran this really amazing. They spent their money initially on building this. And so let me know if you can.
This is your dog.
I'll just play a couple minutes.
This is your
here,
life.
or a couple of seconds.
And this is your life with your pet made a whole lot easier with Wazen, a device that converts your sliding back door.
At this point, the device was not functioning. It's all fake.
So while mom's and dad's, well, busy, Wazen puts the power of using the sliding door into the paws of your pets. No more expensive sitters, no more interruptions, no more accidents in the house.
Okay, I'll stop there. But they did this to run a crowdfunding campaign.
Right.
They did this to run a crowdfunding campaign, and they were very logical about this. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I hope we raise money to run the product. It was actually like, hey, if we don't get over their goal was 100,000. If we don't have over 100,000 pre-orders, then we don't think that there's enough of a market fit for us to continue. And they passed that goal and they decided to kind of move forward, but they still took their time moving forward. They didn't just jump right into, okay, we're going to go and, work with a mass manufacturer or an ODM is what I call it, an original design manufacturer to just like make it and make a bunch of them right now. They kind of took their time along this process of actually like prototyping and getting ready for production. They did their initial manufacturing in-house for the first, like, I think 100 products. And that really allowed them to actually go to customers' units or customers and test out things and find things that were totally wrong. And if they had spent all this money and like on their production molds and everything before they had done this, even they would have actually used all of their money like reworking everything. Then they took those learnings and actually built molds and, we're at customers' homes, still kind of taking their time and being careful before going to high volume production. And this allowed them, over CES, they had a great success, and now they're on to their third SKU. They're doing really well. So it's a cool product and a cool story from some smart people. Nomad is like another consumer electronics product. I probably have a bit too many of consumer electronic products in here right now, but basically we have a charging ecosystem, and they kind of did the opposite. They went really hard on the marketing initially, and again built a really kind of like fun getting started video.
A decade ago,
that helped
the
them
batteries
raise
in our
money.
cell phones lasted us a week. Today, they don't last us through the afternoon. We didn't just want to create another accessory, so we created a solution. Power for your phone is a necessity. We wanted a solution that fits seamlessly into your life. Keys, phone, wallet. These are the only three things you should have to remember.
Hi, Kickstarter. I'm Adam.
And I'm Noah.
We love our iPhones.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. But basically, like, this kind of dates this project. It's pretty old, but they used this. They ran a Kickstarter campaign, and it went really, really well. The Kickstarter campaign actually went, better than they thought it was gonna go. And they're like, okay, gung ho. They pushed really hard to production. They had over 5,000, right? initially right away at over 5,000 buyers, so they could start off like really, really fast. The problem though was that like they got you know, to production, and they had some extremely serious production issues with the molds, and the products were breaking, and they were getting really bad reviews from people, and they ended up having to scrap entire runs and use almost all their money doing that, and still had 5,000 people that were angry and waiting for their product. And so they actually had to run another campaign to fund their first campaign and get it to production. And this is kind of like a story of basically like, hey, you got to be careful about going the other way around. Too much marketing can leave you extremely exposed. Not only is like everything extremely public, but also like the people that would lend you money, maybe a bank or something to finish your production, you have these pre-orders, like people will look at it, but it's all very public at this point. So you have to be really, really careful. And there is a balance between doing the engineering and the marketing. This is a success story though, because, you know, they eventually, it took them to their 7th product, but they eventually did, you know, kind of break into the red, or sorry, into the black. And, you know, they're now a profitable consumer electronics company. I think they have over 150 different independent product SKUs now, and they've got a really cool engineering team and a very cool manufacturing relationship. This one I think is just a cool story of a non-technical product, but even non-technical products like electrical products like take a lot of engineering, and they did a really good job. They kind of hit it from a slightly different angle. They looked at the market, and they saw that, like, you know, there's a lot of pools in the US, and the competitors are a high mix of quality and price. And they at the time of doing this initial kind of prototyping process, they actually ran a advertising campaign, an e-commerce website, and started selling them, and we're able to kind of do that at the same time as managing their relationship with the manufacturers, and got it to market. Okay, 2 quick ones. This is a partner in the Ioterra network, Misty West. They do, you know, full product development. They helped this company, Zoa, who launched this product initially, an air quality monitor, and after launching realized that the people that were buying the product were not the people that they thought were going to buy the product. And so they actually had to rebrand their entire thing before they designed to design a home air quality monitoring system that was kind of like a marketplace for HVAC professionals. And yeah, it totally kind of swapped from a consumer product to you know, a more of a like a
B2B kind of, yeah.
B2B, and they were able to find good product market fit in this way. So there's a lot of like value in testing the marketing side of things, finding product market fit while doing the engineering. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. And so this is more of an enterprise play. Basically, creativity is an amazing industrial design, and they do all kinds of things, including engineering and sound design, and they'll do branding and things like that. But they focus on toys, and the toys market is a totally kind of unique space where there is product, like you can find product market fit through partnerships with, you know, companies, large companies that are already producing these products. And so what they actually did was they went this patented route and came up with a new kind of process and a new experience that they took the big bet on, and partnered with a large toothbrush manufacturer and went straight to market right away by actually like finding that existing manufacturer. So check this out. Kind of fun.
Something amazing is coming. Something the world has never seen before. Introducing Bright Brush, the revolutionary game brush that helps you brush your best with lots of games, music, and non-stop fun. Bright Brush knows how you're brushing using revolutionary technology and smart sensors, so the fun won't stop. Whoa. As you play twice a day.
You gotta try this.
Bright Brush. Brushing your teeth will never be the same.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this story pretty much, but this is just showing there's a lot of different ways to test the market. As you have the engineering, they went for a IP approach and then partnered with a large brand right off the bat. And so there's a lot of ways to get products to the market. And so thank you. I have a bunch more case studies, but I'll go ahead and stop here. And yeah, I hope that that was entertaining, at least.
No, more than entertaining is like having the opportunity to hear those stories and also be aware how to drive in the most appropriate way and taking the considerations that should be taken in order to drive the project and the product as it should be. Like what I'm wondering about like all of these is like, okay, you share like all these processes and how and the different stages, but how what is the usually what is the time that usually takes to bring this idea and also like the development and the go to market process to a success outcome? Like how much is that time that you have found based on the experience and the different projects you have worked on?
Yeah, the answer is I can't say that there's like there's a time that you just need to allocate. Overall, it has been true that it's usually takes longer than you think.
Always takes longer.
Yeah,
that's the rule, isn't it? It's a rule.
That's like a general rule that is usually almost always correct. Especially when it comes to hardware, because it's just complex.
Yep.
It's getting things into the real world is complex. There's a lot of different steps that have to be taken into account. So I would say double the time that you think, unless you're a pro or unless you've done this before and you're already doing that anyways. At that point, you're kind of building that into your risk factor. But so it means double the amount of money that you raise, double the amount of everything would be like my general advice, not knowing any background of the project. But the reality is that the projects are very different. It's very different to launch a very simple kind of non-complex IoT product that maybe has one sensor and one function and a battery, which still can be really hard. Like there's a company Tracker that I'm really good friends with one of the founders, and we helped them when they were another Kickstarter story. We've had a lot of experience with startups or in the early days of breadware, but this is another crazy story. They actually through Kickstarter and Indiegogo found huge product market fit for a little coin cell battery Bluetooth tracker connected with your phone. You put it on your keychain. If your keychain gets like too far away, it buzzes you and tells you where it last was, basically. And they had some major issues on the firmware side, and they were doing huge volumes, like million plus volumes of this tiny little tracker. And when you have that much, it's a huge asset. It's a huge liability to have that much hardware out there and then have problems, because that will bankrupt your company very quickly if that gets out of hand and people send everything back or people do anything kind of crazy. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen, and that's really scary, and you got to just be really careful. That was one of the trips we went out to China to try to help them on the firmware side, get some product, get something together at the last minute, and it's scary.
Scary. Really scary.
Yeah.
Do you think like Kickstarter and Indiegogo are still like good platforms to launch products, or is that going to already changed a little bit?
I mean, I think it totally depends on the product. On the is there a monopoly? Like for instance, toothbrushes, right? Like, are you going to actually successfully launch your own toothbrush brand, or is it better to partner with a toothbrush manufacturer and a brand, and then work with them to launch a new product and use their years and years of well-known kind of like experience developing these kind of products and getting them through certification and all this kind of stuff, or is this an industrial product? Is this a product that is meant to just be integrated into existing solutions? Everything's so different. So I can't.
Yeah,
answer.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The word that many people hates over here.
That's why I'm excited about what I'm doing with Ioterra. We're really trying to kind of get together a lot of different kinds of people, independent contractors, engineers with experience over here, maybe in simulation or in manufacturing, to meet with like solution providers, with engineering firms, with students. It's really cool to like get different groups of people together, different brands together. And since the environment is so fragmented and there's so many different things out there, we just have to stay up to date on what's available all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you see like the path to Ioterra? So if I'm like a designer, I have this idea of a product, or I'm a marketer and I have got another idea, but I can't implement it. How do I approach Ioterra about that?
Yeah, well, Ioterra is we're really an open community. Anyone can come in and participate. You can ask questions. What's available in the what's new in the world of LoRa, right? what's happening? How can I get involved? We have the community side of Ioterra, but then we also are starting actually at the end of this month. We're going to be launching with you guys actually as one of our premier partners. Our solutions landscape. And so we're going to start keeping tabs of awesome solutions, listing them, showcasing them. Other Ioterra members can post reviews, can talk about them, can talk about what's available in these different categories. And we're going to start doing that to help people find stuff. So we're hoping to increase collaboration in the world of hardware. And that's kind of our model.
I see.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, definitely needed, because you can't launch alone. It's impossible. You need a lot of partners. Very good.
Well, Jose took my question.
I'm sorry.
No problem. But like as a final question on my side, like as all the things that you have just shared, like your career path has allowed you to support many companies and the startups to innovate like in different electronic projects. So do you have any particular technical or business advice that you would like to give to our community of IoT entrepreneurs who are just in early stage of their projects? Any tips and tricks for them?
Yeah. So early stage entrepreneurs, I would say that the and this isn't true for all cases, but I would say that like one thing I wish I would have known, well, start as an early stage hardware entrepreneur, and I still consider myself one for sure. Now I'm more on the software side, helping hardware entrepreneurs, but I would say that you should talk about your concept more. People are more closely guarded than I think that they should be, especially in this space and how fast things move. 8 out of 9 times, 8 out of 10 times, the reason I see companies fail is that they didn't move fast enough. It's not that someone else it's not that they blew up and someone else took their stuff. It is literally that they didn't talk to enough people. They didn't get out there. They didn't get the right advice. They didn't tell everybody about their issue or about their idea and their project and get connected to the right person and find that kind of pathway to quick product market fit. And it's always that things take too long. It's so really what I would say, my one piece of advice would be talk to more people, like get out there more, ask for help from more people. No one's going to stop what they're doing and like jump in and be like, oh, this is the next whatever, and take it over from you. They'll more likely you're going to find your a partner, or you're going to find a future like employee, or you're going to find something that's going to help you get there faster. So it's that's my biggest piece of advice for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I guess especially for a new idea where it's not being tested in the market. So and so we have a lot of people coming with new ideas to us, and the first thing I've got this NDA to sign, and I think we'll sign it, but it's
you're going about it the wrong way. Basically,
they are
doing from the start. There are cases where it's not true. I would say maybe in like the medical environment or in some kind of heavy duty R&D, cases where you're designing a new integrated chip, or you're designing like something at the very bleeding cutting edge, a new form of the transistor or something. But yeah, you definitely should kind of be careful and figure out, and I don't have that much experience navigating those waters. But most of the stuff that I've seen is like, hey, let's use, like in software, utilize products that exist, put it together to launch something that can satisfy a customer's need and that people will pay for. That's what has to happen on the hardware side. It's not always like this crazy magic sauce.
Agree. Yeah. Very good insight.
Completely. Thank you so much, Danny, for those insights. Our community are going to really appreciate them for sure. No, I think this was a really good session. You share many things that are going to be super valuable. Like your learnings are super valuable for our community as well as for us. And we are super excited to be partnering with Ioterra and move forward with the launch things, with the things that you're about to launch, like the platform itself, as well as the other conference and events that we're going to be participating together. We really look forward to keep rolling the ball on that side. And I really appreciate the time that you take to be here today, as well as to prepare this awesome presentation to share those failures and wins in some way for the companies that you have been working on, actually. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. And thank you for the invitation. And I really enjoyed speaking with you guys today.
Awesome. Not sure, Jose, if you have any additional questions before ending it.
No, I'm just excited to get this partnership going. Yeah, let's move this.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So that's all for today. If someone is watching this video later and maybe you have any question for Danny or for us, feel free to leave it on the comment section, and we will be super happy to address any question you may have. We hope to see you next week, and happy hacking, folks, like always.
Happy hacking. Bye-bye.
Bye.